I am Deacon Ed Giblin from the Diocese of Rochester. I work in the Office of Clergy Services, and I am most pleased to accept the invitation to come down and speak to you briefly about the Catholic Ministries appeal in the context of those groups for whom we prayed in the general intercessions, seminarians, deacons, and pastoral leaders, and I will include our priests, venerable priests as well. Kevin and I didn't speak before we came here. I didn't even know he was preaching this weekend, but his homily teed up my comments wonderfully, because he talked about our universal call to love one another, love our neighbor, and as Jesus says, even love our enemies, right? Pray for those who hate you, love those who persecute you. Hard to do in this day and age. And his mention as well about our call to recognize the divine in the other person. Again, those we love, our neighbors and our friends, and the enemies, right? To recognize the divine in them. Pope Francis, our Holy Father, reminds us all the time to recognize our friends and our enemies out in the peripheries, right? He challenges us to go to places where we normally would not go, to spread the love of Christ, to spread the good news out in those areas, the poor, the disenfranchised, the marginalized. And the circumstances and obligations of our own personal lives don't allow us to go to the peripheries all the time, right? We just can't do it. We have families and jobs and obligations that we do. But who goes to those peripheries for us? The deacons, the priests, the seminarians, the pastoral leaders, the pastoral ministers, who go to those places and bring the presence of the church to the marginalized, the poor, the disenfranchised, those we don't see often or think about often, those that don't speak like us, look like us, come from the same place we came from, and such like that. Your generosity and your prayerful support of those groups helps them to go out to the peripheries, right? We can't be in the hospital rooms, but they go on our behalf. We can't be in the prisons and the jails, but they go on our behalf. We can't be in the nursing homes and the hospitals and the hospices, but they go on our behalf, and the college campuses as well. So I'd invite for your prayerful reflection as you reflect on Kevin's wonderful homily about recognizing the divine in one another, loving our neighbors and our enemies, and Father Mike's plea that we are open to the Spirit always, that same Spirit that drove the apostles from behind closed doors continues to drive us to the peripheries, inspires us, challenges us, animates us, and makes us spread the gospel. So in your prayerful consideration and your generosity, please think about how you can support, through the Catholic Ministries appeal, the work of our deacons and our priests and our seminarians and our pastoral leaders, those folks who we don't see about a lot, talk about a lot, but do the work of the gospel, do the work of the church on our behalf. They are most grateful not only for your financial support, but most particularly for your prayerful support, because we know, right, pray unceasingly, we know, as Kevin said, put it in his hands, put it in God's hands, and those people go out forth on our behalf, supported by your prayer and your generosity. So thank you very much for your time, for your effort, and especially for your prayer. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed.